This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The content is based on personal experiences and is not medical advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional for personalized medical guidance.
This is about sharing our personal experiences, where we are in our journeys, if you're comfortable doing so.
I also had a brain tumor too, and it's in remission.
Using the Joe Tippins method, I was able to keep it stable, maybe even reduce it a millimeter. And then he told us, dude, you guys, it's protective of the cancer. It's an antioxidant, it's a protective of the cancer.
My opinion is test, don't guess. And I choose to eat an animal-based diet that typically will have less than 20 grams of carbs. Don't do metabolic therapy. But really, no, I do believe metabolic therapy supports standard of care.
I hear so much energy between you two, and I feel that if you change your story, your internal story, you can get over this. There's five pillars. Kimberly, there's 5 pillars. Food is just one of those 5 of my pillars, and it's quality sleep.
And you know what? That's covered in Seafried's protocol, and that's the purpose of this group, is how to implement metabolic therapy. I feel like I'm probably triggering you.
You're not triggering me at all. I just want
well, then maybe I'm feeling triggered.
This is what I'm trying to say is I'm not in survival mode.
But we have to be. We have to be.
We have to. Literally, our body is designed to jump.
I go out in my backyard, I take off my shirt, and I let the people in the trail see me sexy.
You're perfect. And take off your shoes too, because you need to ground yourself.
Don't forget, laughter is the best medicine, and have as much fun as you can. When we are done with today's podcast, what we're going to be starting our discussion on is going to be the figure that, there it is, that we've all seen in Seafried's research papers. And this is the very, very fundamentals of metabolically supported standard of care. And our group is growing. This is going to be important for us to return to on occasion as a review, because there's going to be new people coming in. It's also important because I have a sneaky suspicion that these fundamentals will be the ongoing process in some form for management of disease. Hopefully we can come off the off-label drug use. Hopefully we won't have to be spending hundreds of dollars for back-to-back sessions of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Outside of Seafried's research, there's some good indication that vitamin C IV therapy works, but it's very expensive. We don't want to have to do that. So what's going to keep us whole? What's going to keep us whole is learning to cycle in and out of a state of ketosis. And I also want to make it very clear and that our dietary focus needs to be as broad as possible to allow as many people as possible to practice metabolic therapy. So what that's going to include is animal-based, plant-based, single ingredient, whole food items to the extent that you can afford them, like them, tolerate them, and incorporate them in your diet. If you don't get that dietary portion tweaked, none of this is going to be sustainable, because what do we do every single day? Most of us eat. Some of us eat one meal a day. Some of us eat 2 meals a day. Some of us incorporate fasting, but we all eat. So if you cannot get your diet to a sustainable portion of cycling in and out of ketosis, whatever level you think is appropriate for you, Free does seem to indicate that a GKI lower than he used to say 3. He's now saying 2. And the lower you can get in a pulse state, um, the better off it is. So my point being is I'm trying to learn new technology. I'll link the study that this image came from, and then you can create a thumbnail. I want to try and learn to do those kinds of things, but I'm personally focusing on how to properly fuel and heal my body so I can stay alive. I don't have a lot of space for learning. My learning needs to be focused on research. So, Bernardo, what was the first thing? Hi, Hengameh, how are you?
Hi, Hengameh.
Fine, fine. How are you?
Very well. We are
Nice.
recording this session.
Okay.
If you do not want to be on YouTube for any reason, you may want to close your camera off, but you can leave your mic on. If you're fine with it, your face may show up on our screens. If you don't
Can I
want
just
to,
ask you a question?
Actually, I'm
I
happy
just
to
want to interrupt for
be,
a second.
Yep.
yeah, on the screen.
And,
So,
yeah, can I just ask you a question? I know there's a topic, but I want to be able to. I want to know if it's useful for me to tell you. I just had radiology done to me a couple of days ago,
huh?
and I wanted to share my experience with it, especially with Bernardo, because I had brain tumors.
Yep.
And I won't talk about it too much right now. We don't have to talk about it now, but maybe later on. I don't know if you want it to be as part of the general discussion or just I just want to share my experience about the
Yeah.
radiology.
Let us know
Uh,
your experience,
Let
John. We
let
would
yeah,
appreciate that.
later
let's
on, later on,
well,
later
personal
on.
actually,
personal
share it.
stories trump any topic I have outlaid. So let me answer Hegem's question
Okay.
and make sure that she's okay with everything. And we will absolutely yield the floor, if you will, to you
Oh,
and
okay.
where your story is. This is
Yeah.
about sharing our personal experiences, where we are in our journeys, if you're comfortable doing so, and um, any results, because we want to have a safe space. We want to share in your struggles, and we want to rejoice if there's opportunity to do so in your successes. I'm sorry, Hagama. What were you going to say?
No, I was just saying that, yeah, please share. I also had a brain tumor too, and it's in remission. So I'd love
Oh,
to hear
yay,
your,
Good news.
yeah,
yay.
it's,
All right, so we'll let John tell a little bit about his
oh,
story. Tell us who you
you,
are. Tell
oh,
us
you
when
want
you
it
were
now? Okay.
diagnosed. Tell us what part of metabolic therapy you began implementing, and then a little bit about your treatment and whatever you want to share regarding the outcome.
Well, I just where do I start? I want to keep it short. Basically, I had non-small lung cancer in my apical area here. It remained using the Joe Tippins method or protocol. I think I was able to keep it stable, maybe even reduce it a millimeter um, for about 5 months, and then I believe I made a mistake of not using regularly the safeguard or the pan cure fenbendazole
Hmm.
because I think that helped. So when I started using maybe this thing called Sonari Labs fenbendazole, and I
Hmm.
think I bought it from the UK, but it's made in Lithuania. I think it might not have been potent enough. And then what happened is I also used ivermectin from Iberlabs 12. I think it's an India Mart version, and it might have been not as pure and not as potent. So my suggestion is to get the compounding pharmacy one, just to make sure. And then what Stuart and I do, and everybody else does, I think, according to William Mackis's recommendation, is to rotate the brands to make sure that one of them is pure and potent and is working. So I'm still trying to figure out what's wrong in it, and I'm trying to use the pharmaceutical doctor prescribed ivermectin now, and I'm sticking with the benzodiazole recommended by 9-year veteran Joe Tippins is still alive, right? So I want to stick with that. But in the meantime, because it metastasized, my lung cancer metastasized with the brain. Here's some of the things that I learned that you have to be pushy about. I'm with Kaiser, right? So when they first checked my MRI brain thing, they found two two lesions, 7 millimeter, 4 millimeter. And then I thought, great, they only have to deal with two, right? With the stereotactic radiation, gamma ray, photon, James T. Kirk phaser thing, right? So I thought, great, that's all I have to do. But like most HMOs, they use a cheap MRI diagnostic tool. And then as you get closer to the actual treatment, they say, well, we're going to have to do a more high resolution diagnosis. And then they use a better microscope MRI, so to speak. And then they find then they find more, right?
Yeah.
So instead of two, they found nine.
Yeah.
At nine, right? So I'm like, shoot, what are they going to do now, right? Then you have to be very specific because they're salesmen. They're never going to tell you exactly what they're going to do, right? So luckily for me, I bugged them. I said, so what are you going to do? Is it going to be the same stereotactic, cyber knife, gamma knife type of radiology treatment? Or is it going to be the whole brain microwave, turn your brain into jellyfish mush, will you expire after 3 months? You need to ask, right? And you need to tell them, if you're going to do that, I'm getting out, right? So I'm going to stick with just the IV vitamin C and a metabolic therapy. So I needed to fight for that because my family, my friends, what's wrong with you? You're going to get a zap. It's going to be over, right? Everybody thinks it's like slam, bam, thank you, mom, you're done, right? But what actually happens when you ask the questions is they tell you specifically what they're targeting. They're not targeting the nucleus specifically. They can't promise they can target the nucleus of the cancer only. They can actually, as precise as it is, it can go all over the place, right? They promise you to just stick with it. But what they said was they target the DNA of the cancer. And I was thinking, once they zap it, it's dead. It's not. What they do is they disorder, they destroy, they sort of mix up the information in the DNA so that when the cancer mitochondria tries to build, tries to grow, and tries to get the information from its programming on the nucleus, it says, there's nothing there. We can't build anything. So it slowly dies, slowly not able to function, But here's the thing, it takes weeks or months before the cancer finally necrotizes or dies, if it even dies, right? So they tell you in 3 months from now, June 14th for me, they're going to check to see if the radiation was enough to jumble it up or kill it, and they're hoping that it does. But they're also hoping, and they're keeping it sort of on the down low, that they didn't sort of come off the boundaries and maybe destroy normal human cells, right? So my experience right now, just because it's only been 2 days, I didn't have a toothache and I didn't have any pain but now I have a toothache, right? And I don't know where it came from, right? So I'm thinking the gamma rays, sure, penetrated my brain, but it also had to penetrate through my teeth and my jaw, and who knows what damage it did there, right? So I'm still happy because it's a race, right?
Yep.
Is my cancer going to go faster uh, uh, than my metabolic therapy can keep it from growing so that I don't lose cognition? So my concern, okay, I just want to tell you my logic. The main, if I had, if I only had two tumors and they're not growing fast, and I was so surprised with the metastasis, I would have stuck with the metabolic therapy. I would have really stuck with it, right? But because it's 9 and it's still small and it happens so quickly, what's important is we have to learn all the time. But I was afraid of losing consciousness
Yeah.
and cognition.
Yep.
So I wanted to preserve the brain, my cognition, so I can continue to study Seafried and Jack Cruz and Casey Peevler and all these other people. Oh, as a side note, before I forget, Stuart Briscoe is in conference or trying to get in conference consultation with Jack Cruz, right? And Jack Cruz, Mr. Bioenergy Healing himself, said something I think which will send shockwaves if it goes out. Okay, he thinks that the hyperbaric chamber uh, uh, treatment, which I consider the assassination protocol after we starve the cancer, right? It's the last thing to kill it, right? He's saying it's not good.
Oh, well.
He's saying it's not good. He actually recommends more the pro-oxidative treatments like IV vitamin C, ozone therapy, which is ozone 2, ozone 3, and I forget the other one. But he recommends that over the hyperbaric chamber. And Stuart Briscoe says he's going to be talking to Jack Cruz about that, bringing information from Seafried and Dom Augustino, who has the studies on the success of hyperbaric chamber, to see how these goats, these gurus will deal with this thing. They need to synthesize this thing so that there's no side effects or untoward uh, unknown effects. Just like I'll give you an example. Like until Casey Peevler told me, I was taking liposomal vitamin C, right? 6 grams every day, and then he told us, dude, you guys, it's protective of the cancer.
Yep.
It's an antioxidant. It's a protective of the cancer. And then
What I
here the whole time I'm thinking IV vitamin C I'm equating with liposomal vitamin C, but they're totally different treatments. One is an antioxidant that could be protective of the cancer. The other one, IV vitamin C, is a pro-oxidant that blasts the cancer
Yep.
because it's high dose. But you
Here's
don't know that until
well,
you know what I'm
but
saying?
I didn't know. Well, I did know that there was some crossover between when an antioxidant becomes a pro-oxidant and actually encourages cancer growth. I found that to be true with NAC.
Yeah,
I was taking vitamin C orally, but
yeah,
because I was actually diagnosed as diabetes or prediabetes at my cancer diagnosis, one of the things I found is oral vitamin C only has one molecule difference between that and
and
glucose,
glucose.
and
Yeah,
raises your glucose. So I
yeah.
had a decision to make. Was I going to try to, because I'd already looked at vitamin C, was I going to try and titrate my dose up to get the effective levels in my bloodstream that would be equivalent to IV vitamin C and risk my blood sugar being up because Seafried's protocol seems to indicate cancer feeds on carbohydrates,
Right.
specifically sugar. I opted, for me personally, to choose Siegfried's theory. I'm betting my life on something, and I already had diabetes. I'm gonna quit the oral vitamin C. So I have not taken any supplemental vitamin C for 18 months. Have I got 6 months to 2 years? And I set small achievable goals. I've got 2 years to beat my to beat my prognosis that the medical practitioners gave. That's not my whole mindset, but it was a shorter achievable goal. My long-term goal is to live long enough to die from something else other than cancer, or to die with cancer. But you got to be able to break these things down into small achievable chunks. My first goal was to outlive my short end of the prognosis, which was 6 to 8 months. I wanted to live long enough to walk on the beach with my big family vacation with all of my children. Um, and I was diagnosed in August of 2003. We took our vacation in June of 2004 to Florida. We rented a huge big house, and all my family went, and I could walk to the beach. Nobody had to carry me. It was glorious, except for the fact my son, um, who is active duty military, and this is not a political discussion, this is a mom's heart. He was deployed out of country. So one of the things I think Siegfried's, and he didn't get to go with us. Now his wife and 2 children went, so I had all my grandkids there, but still, it's a mama's heart. The reason I tell that story is it doesn't matter what we're doing with our health. It doesn't matter what we're doing with anything else in our life. Life is going to happen. We have to figure out how to manage the stressful components. I did tell my doctors early on in my diagnosis that if they told me one more time to get rid of the stress in my life, I was probably going to throat punch them and go to jail for assault, because there are no stress-free lives. There are ways that we can teach our bodies to respond to stressful stimulus, and I think that's probably a little bit of where Hengameh's approach plays into it. And it's also a fundamental approach to Siegfried's protocol. And there's and I mean, it's right there. Keto diet restricted with ketone supplements. You should feel free to use exogenous ketone supplements if it helps you lower your blood sugar and achieve a healing state of ketosis. Stress management. That's
Kimberly,
exercise.
can I interrupt? Can I interrupt for a second?
Yes.
I wanted to ask you. Stuart also produced a study recently that showed that the exogenous ketones weren't as effective as MCT oil number 8. So I wanted to know your opinion on that.
My opinion is test, don't guess.
Okay.
MCT oil is very effective to enhance your body's natural production of ketones and to be in a ketogenic state. If you're wanting I don't think I've ever achieved a GKI without, that was at a therapeutic level, without either fasting or supplementing with exogenous ketones. And I choose to eat an animal-based diet that typically will have less than 20 grams of carbs. And if I don't have dairy and eggs, it's 0 carb. So I think it's unfair to issue a blanket statement, especially in our circumstances, that exogenous ketones aren't appropriate or they aren't the best thing to use. Absolutely. I agree. That could be a good statement. Anything we can get our bodies to do naturally is probably going to be best. But I'm 60
Kimberly,
years old.
uh,
Chances are still have some insulin resistance, and I can't get my blood sugar down to 50 or 60 without prescription medicine and the use of exogenous ketones. So I would think that we would need to be very careful in how we phrase our opinions. And I'm going to leave it at test, don't guess. Seafried
okay.
has a Keto Mojo that'll tell you exactly what's working. The important thing is people know that there's an option. And if you're specifically in this group fighting cancer and looking for ways to manage it, you have every right to try every option that is available to you without judgment from anybody else.
Can I, Kimberly, can I ask you another question? Kimberly, before you move on, I wanted to ask you about the milk. So I found that milk does have some carbs. So
Yeah,
I'm generally just consuming heavy cream.
yes.
And is heavy cream better? It is, right? I mean, test, not guess. But I
Uh,
noticed when I look at the labels, it says there's no carb in it.
there,
Is that true even?
well, I mean, it's a label, so we hope it's true. And yes, I have found when I will drink milk because I like it. There was a period of time when I was 116 pounds and I was becoming quite thin. I needed to put on some weight. I didn't need to go full on standard American high processed foods to do it. I chose to do the most natural foods that I could ingest. And I like milk. It makes me feel good. So I will use milk on occasion. I don't think metabolic therapy, because of the way Seafried has laid it out. Remember, he calls it press and pulse. I think it's meant to be cycled in and out of. How and when you exercise, for example. Um, Sometimes we exercise to release stress. So we're going to be doing things like gentle stretching, yoga, incorporating specific breath work into our practice. Sometimes releasing stress, we're going to be doing foam rolling, getting those knots out of the muscle and the myofascial release. Um, my all-time favorite my all-time favorite yoga pose is corpse pose in
Oh
my
no.
sauna, and I'm typically because I have a tendency to get sidetracked. I have a tendency to be listening to some guided meditation to remind me about my breath because I got a little ADD going on. I'll have a thought and it will get me excited and I'm up and wanting to write about it or research about it. Um, so
How often
under
do you go to the sauna? How often do you go to the sauna?
I do sauna at home twice a week.
Oh,
I have a sleeping bag or blanket sauna that says it's in infrared. It says it gets up to 176 degrees. Um, it does when I take my core temperature, it does raise my core temperature up to about 103 degrees is about the highest I've been able to get it. And that's typically with a blanket on top of the sleeping bag sauna and a hat on.
Kimberly, question:
Yes.
Do you use the sauna as a way to sort of irritate the cancer or kill it? Because it's like a fever, right? So once the cancer's starved, you can. Because I heard from like Dr. Jack Cruz, for example, cancer hates extreme cold and extreme heat, right? We're using hyperbaric chamber, we're using IV vitamin C, but I've also heard that extreme heat and extreme cold can actually degrade the cancer. It can kill it possibly.
You
So
know,
are, are you
I,
using it for that purpose too?
I'm using it for multiple purposes. When I systematically chose what I was going to do, I chose what I could afford, what I had access to, what made the most sense to me. And I came to a cancer diagnosis with a diabetes diagnosis, with a thyroid diagnosis. I also have hyperthyroidism. I have a very hard time maintaining my body temperature. My core body temperature typically runs around 96.8 instead of 98.6, and usually averages 97. Um, Sauna is a good way to move glucose through the bloodstream. So it's out of the blood into the muscles where it belongs.
I
Um,
see.
in
Very good.
Seifried's study that I read that was specific to breast cancer, he used internal hyperthermia. That's the heat part, right?
Yeah.
And there's no place that I could afford that's local that I could do that internally. So
Well,
in
can
my high school brain, it
I ask you a
said,
question? I need to understand. What do you mean by internal hypothermia? What does that mean?
to the best of my knowledge, they used some kind of internal probe to heat up that specific area.
Oh, it's,
Uh,
it's like an ablation. Okay.
something like that. First of all, I'm not a scientist or a doctor. I didn't really understand it. It didn't matter because the pricing and the insurance coverage and the local access put it out of my range. But if I wanted the benefits of it, how could I best duplicate that at home? I could get a sauna, and I got a stand up one that I could put a chair in and zip up and read. I couldn't get comfortable long enough. That's why I gifted that to one of my children and moved into the sleeping bag sauna, because you also have to be able to maintain it.
Kimberly, you know what I tried to do? Because my cancer was in my lungs, this part. It didn't metastasize yet. So I bought myself a super hot heating pad, right? This one, it goes up to 140 degrees. So I thought to myself, ChatGPT, what's the hypothermia temperature in order to kill cancer and how long? He said, ChatGPT said if you can raise the temperature of the tumor to 103 degrees Fahrenheit up to 114 for 1 hour, you will kill the cancer. So thought I'm going to put it over my chest and do it for 2 hours and try to kill it, right? So I thought it's topical. I don't have to raise my whole body core temperature. I don't know if it worked or not, but ChatGPT seemed to say it's worth a try. You know?
And honestly, I was gonna open the conversation with, don't do metabolic therapy. But really, no, I do believe metabolic therapy supports standard of care if you choose to do standard of care. I believe it enhances that efficacy. Um,
Oh,
Can I
but
can
it's
I interrupt? I'm
hard.
sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
can
It's
I
hard.
inter- can I
Yes.
interject? Because I really like I hear so much energy between you two, and you guys have so much life in you. And I feel that if you change your story, your internal story, you can get over this.
Yes. Yes.
By calling it killing, we can't kill cancer. It's cancer is very complex. Each one of us manifests very differently and uniquely. It is something that we have to take agency ourselves. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I've been triggering it most of my lifetime. I went through chemo and radiation when I was 28. I lost my menstruation, you know?
Mm.
And then fast forward 20 years later, I had it in my head. Actually, I had it was a brain tumor, but it was a very slow growing. It was lymphoma. And I'm really lucky that it was slow growing because I had time to change my mind and my relationship with myself and the stories I was telling myself. So it's important to embrace cancer, not kill it, not fight. Like we need to appreciate our body, our vessel,
I
and we
think
need
there's
to,
a component of truth to what you're saying. I also think that one of the ways for me that I give agency over my body and what little bit of control I have, because there's a part of me that believes there is a higher power and I am ultimately not in control. But what I can control is how I eat, and that empowers me. And when I'm empowered, I'm strong. When I choose off label drugs, it helps my body do what it's doing. Ultimately, I am not a victim of anything. What I'm trying to achieve is homeostasis that
right.
looks better, but we typically say,
There's 5 pillars.
especially,
Kimberly, there's 5 pillars, and food is just one of those 5 of my pillars. The one that's most important is sleep, and it's quality sleep.
and you know what? That's covered in Seafried's protocol, and that's the purpose of this group is how to implement metabolic therapy. Seafried's protocol under stress management talks about quality sleep. So we
Exactly.
have
The
a big
problem is that a lot of us, when we get very, very older in our lifetime, we only get into the habit of 5 or 6 hours of sleep. That is not enough.
Right.
No, there are some researchers. I'm in the process of looking for the studies, but in my research, I just heard someone say that when you become in tune with your body's normal circadian rhythm, and that's going to be different, and you improve the quality of sleep that you get, that there are some studies starting to come out that show the quality of sleep that you get that typically ranges between 8 p.m. and midnight is twice as healing as the sleep quality that you get from 8 p.m. to 4 p.m. So I'm not disagreeing with you. Sleep does play a huge component in
Oh, no,
C3
that's the only
protocol.
that's the only time your body is repairing and ready.
Absolutely.
So if you don't do the 8 hours, so there's a book called Why We Sleep. And
Why we
it's
sleep.
really important, yes, Why We Sleep. It's really important to read that book because we need our deep sleep and we need our dream sleep. 8 hours or 9 hours, we need to increase our habit. If you cannot do it all in one night, it needs to be within that 24 hours. We can't make up sleep. Sleep is
Well,
literally repairing your cells.
What's the name of the
absolutely.
author? Hegema?
I'm sorry?
What's the name of the author of the book?
The author of the book, Scott something, but it's just Why We Sleep. If you just
Why we sleep.
Google
Okay.
that, Why We Sleep,
I will.
it'll come up. Yeah,
Is that what worked for you?
Well, I
learning that
mean,
book?
yeah, I mean, I don't I don't know, do you guys have an alarm? I don't have an alarm. I don't wake up on an alarm. I go to sleep by 10 and I wake up around, I don't know, 7. I literally, that is my medicine. If I don't
Okay.
get the, I do get up once a night to go to the toilet, but I immediately, by the way, I also tape my mouth so I can breathe through my nose. Because if
Yeah.
you're sleeping and your mouth is open, you're not getting the quality sleep. When people snore or they have sleep apnea, these are actually diseases. We just don't consider them as a disease because it's people. Oh, what is that?
Sleep apnea machine.
Mm,
So you
See?
have sleep
That-
apnea.
yeah.
yeah, that's probably why I have cancer.
My dad
It's
has the
Yes,
chronic
same.
hypoxia. Yeah.
of course. That goes
Yeah.
into your lungs. If you breathe through your mouth when you're sleeping, your lungs are getting all the bacteria. I mean, that's not healthy.
Right.
Well, and
Right.
hopefully you can achieve homeostasis and wholeness, and maybe restore your breathing to the point that you don't need that anymore. I think that how we implement this
I
strategy,
think
press pulse, in the context of fighting cancer or living with cancer or whatever doesn't evidently trigger you, Hegema, there is a huge breadth of freedom and hopefully creates an abundance of curiosity that drives us to take, like you said, agency over our own bodies, use our intellect to find the things that enhance our well-being and moves us
Really, our
to a state
story
of
that we tell, the story that we tell ourselves is what I'm talking about agency. I'm not talking about agency like making our own decisions and stuff. I'm talking about changing our mind, shifting our habits.
it's
I'm
all it it I think you and I are on the same page. We're just using different words, and I'm very sorry.
using,
I feel like I'm probably triggering you, and I'm not
no,
sure
no, no.
why.
You're not
Because
triggering me at all. I just
all of
want
well, then
the
maybe I'm feeling triggered because what
okay.
you're saying resonates with me, and I must not be able to communicate it back to you. Because underneath all of that is the mindset. There are the values,
Right.
my choice in how I see and perceive myself. What's appropriate between being in a state of survival, and most of us in the context of this group, we're kind of in that fight or flight stage. Most of us in here are in here because we have cancer, medically speaking, how we got it, and we are in survival mode. Underneath that is, and
I'm
that's a
not in
primal
survival
state.
mode. This is what I'm trying to say is I'm not in survival mode. I've
Okay, but we
accepted
have to be. We have to be. What we
no, but
can do when we are fighting that is learn to manage that stress. Because here's what we know about cancer. It
jumping up and down is relieving stress. Literally, we are not jumping. People who run, people who play tennis, people
You
who
didn't even
play
ask.
soccer,
Exercise plays a huge part in Seafried's
massive.
protocol. That's
Exactly, but we
part of
have
the
to be
protocol.
jumping. We have to be jumping, not just laying around as well.
We
We have
that
to, literally, our body is designed to jump.
I have periods of time
I'm jumping on a
in
trampoline.
my day
You
that
have to
are
definitely jump.
dedicated to exercise to achieve specific goals. I actually move through my day. I play with my grandchildren. Um,
Wonderful. Play
so
in the
these are
playground with them.
Hey, Hagel, I joined the
these
gym.
I
Yeah, in the gym, it's really good to be outdoors. You need quality air.
Absolutely.
No, I'm
That's
serious. Go
why
in the playground
that's why
and
we have
and
a farm we're
You
working
want to know
on.
something funny, Hengama? I go out in my backyard, I take off my shirt, and I let the people in the trail see me sexy.
you're perfect. And take off your shoes too, because you need to ground yourself. The earth is an electron, and we need to get rid of our, free radicals. We need to get them out of our system. All day long, we're acquiring free radicals.
Hey, Hengama, you know what I did? Instead of taking off my shoes because I don't want to get parasites, somebody told me get a steel staff, plant it on the soil, and hold on to the steel staff, and you get it grounded that way.
Yeah, I also bought these grounding sheets so I can sleep on it.
Yeah. Speaking of
Oh,
sleep,
can
one of the ways that you can improve the
I
quality of your sleep is to sleep on grounding sheets. I have that. I do
look at
that.
Hengama?
This is a
Hengama,
whole
I
system.
got an invention. I put a wire outside to the backyard. I took a stainless steel mesh on the end of the wire and I put it on my hip. So I'm grounded all night. Isn't that crazy? It
There are
works.
there are all
Of
kinds of
course.
creative ways that you can
I'm going to sell
incorporate
this at Amazon.
that you can incorporate
No, that's
ways to
perfect.
heal
And
your body.
actually, by just laughing, that in itself, do you know that helps a lot?
It's a
This
huge
is how we're
component in
creating
stress
homeostasis.
management.
Yeah,
It's
Oh,
a
this
can I
is
huge
send
how
you? Can I tell you one more
that's how
thing?
we release. Yeah.
My cancer was stabilized when I was out of therapy. But when I got into therapy, all of a sudden, all the problems they just multiplied. You got to
I
get out of
know.
therapy and get out in the sun.
Exactly. Absolutely. You hit the nail on the
Yep,
top. You
yep,
don't need the therapy. They have so much side effects. All these
yep,
supplements, get it from real food, food that we get from the sun. Real food are vegetables, fruits, nuts, these are real food. Anything that's processed,
Okay,
man-made, like cake
I'm
and ice
gonna
cream.
I'm gonna go back
yeah.
here and say that in this group we need to be as inclusive to whole foods that come from the sun, plants and fruits and vegetables and nuts, and respect our animal-based people who eat. There are a huge number of people in this group who happen to tend to be more animal-based, and that's how they're choosing their lifestyle. So
And
let's
Kimberly, as
try to
long as those
be.
animals are eating grass-fed, I'm all for it.
I think it's just important because of what I'm seeing going on in the internet that there's so much discord and that drives um, there's so much not discord. We want discord and discourse. We want conversation. There's so much fighting over what's best. We need to broaden those terms and make sure we're as inclusive as possible. Whole food, single ingredients, animal based, plant based, low carb, no carb. That's fine. In the
It's
context
got
of eating
it's got to be science based.
the
Got to be evidence based. That's all.
well, Um, we could argue that, and that's not the purpose of today's conversation.
No,
But
it's not. It's not science.
C-free promotes eating to be in a state of ketosis, and ketosis is a measurable metabolic state. And you do that by lowering glucose and lowering insulin and encouraging your liver to produce ketones internally if you can on your own and with exogenous use ketones if you need to supplement. um, there's a time and a place for supplements, and the freedom to choose in our own journey to homeostasis. And I'd like to really start talking about this whole ways of eating and ways of healing. um, to just chuck healing altogether and really start talking about it being a journey to wholeness.
Yeah.
Having said that, I don't want to discount the marvelous stories of recovery and the healing that has occurred. So until the population at large catches up with the way I want to think, and we all know that that is the responsibility of the whole world is to agree with me, not really. But until we change the way we discuss things, for me to call it wholeness and not healing probably invalidates someone else's experience. And I'm trying poorly, but desperately, to create a support system that brings about wholeness for everyone. And in the context of being diagnosed with cancer or living with cancer, even if you don't know it, to me, because I've had such clarity and some healing or return to wholeness with Seafried's protocols, that's what I want to report. That's what I want to focus on. And there's a ton of things that we can do for ketosis, for stress management, which is where Hengameh's expertise is, and shifting that mindset um, at the core value level, so it becomes who you are from the inside out, not what you do. And I think you're right about that. Um, I think that there is a time to fight when I look at animals in the wild.
By the
Okay,
way,
on
we
documentary,
are
I never see
animals.
it.
We
Well,
are animals.
but we
We've just
classify.
forgotten to be in nature. We need to be in nature. We need to be like literally when we get out, when we finish sleeping, we need to be outdoors, especially us
Yep.
who have cancer, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. But the first time I had cancer, I
Yes.
couldn't get up and be outdoors. I had to get up and go to work at my job, which was not a job. So we have huge problems. And then we have problems that affect the whole world. I don't disagree with you. We shouldn't be working in an office all day long. We bought into the wrong lie. But that's not
Exactly.
where I'm at right now. There are certain things that I have to do to work. There are certain things that other people in this group have to do to maintain.
No,
Um,
if you have to live, you have to get the sun. I put my computer out in the sun.
Perfect.
not
I'm in the backyard with the
not
computer.
not everybody has
You're
the
doing
freedom.
awesome.
Not if you can do
Maybe
that, that's great.
If you
Not
want to save your
everybody.
life, you got to do it.
you got to do
Not
it. You got to
everybody can
do
do
to
it.
live.
Not
You got to do
You
it to
got
live.
not
exactly.
not
You need the
everybody
sun, you
can
need the
do that
water,
in
you
today's
need fresh air.
society. We have to look for ways that we can shift the way society is being run and lived at large, so we don't have to work to get to wholeness. Um, but
You can't,
there are a lot of people.
you
At
can't
the
compromise
time
on
I
the
was
sun.
diagnosed with cancer, I couldn't have been, um, I couldn't have been getting outside. My job didn't allow that. And in the United States, which is a whole nother problem, I couldn't quit my job because I couldn't get quality care, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have qualified for um, underinsured or underinsured care. I had to have that job in order to have my insurance coverage. So we have to be talking in practical ways to return to wholeness in the society that we have, and let's get out of the rat race. Let's return to bartering. If you're a baker, bake whole foods, bake bread, and change it in your and trade it for chicken eggs. But our society at large we're not set up to do that. We can make a shift
Yep.
to do that. In order to make that shift, I have to figure out how to live long enough with cancer or in a managed state or healed cancer to work for those changes. And to me, it comes back to whole foods diet, eat to be in ketosis, figure out how to manage your stress, use HBOT if you think it's going to work or don't. It happens to be well researched in sea-free studies. Um, vitamin C, um, I wouldn't personally take it orally anyway. For me, I think it's a great supplement if you need to supplement it. I think you should get it from food first. If vitamin C IV was more widely available in my area that was cost effective for me, I would certainly add it to my regime because it induces ferroptosis, the way we kill cells by using iron. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole you can get into.
Oh, in order to increase your iron, we need to be taking like literally like foods with vitamin C. It's so important. So when you take nuts and then afterwards take some fruits of some sort, you will increase your iron. You can even ask ChatGPT. So I
Um,
highly recommend to.
Again, I personally have to be careful with my fruit consumption. My body loves sugar. It will go nuts. I could
Do
have
you
strawberries and my blood sugar will go up 20 or 30 points.
do
That's
you eat
fine
do
if
you eat do you
pardon me?
eat cake? Do you eat like baked stuff?
Oh, no, no. I've personally been low carb on and off, moving to more whole foods since 1996 when I read Dr. Ead's book called Protein Power. And I started learning about ketones then. There wasn't all the knowledge and it wasn't mainstream. That was probably when it came out, when we started hearing Atkins. Um, Before he became commercialized because it was a low carb diet then.
Kimberly, question.
Yes.
Kimberly, I have a question for you. Do you eat any vegetables, and which vegetables do you recommend that we can eat and still stay low carb?
You know what? You have to do your own research on that. Me personally, I don't
No, I'm
eat any
asking you.
vegetables.
Not
Me
not even
personally,
arugula, no lettuce,
I
no
have,
broccoli.
No, I
nope.
think we need all those. We definitely
Well,
need.
you
I mean,
know,
it's
you're,
the amount. It's the amount
like
that we
sprout,
have to
well, and
take.
I
like
don't,
like like sprouted vegetables, like
I
sprouted
don't,
broccoli, mung beans.
I don't like them. I had a nutrition panel run at my own expense in trying to figure out it was it was about this time last year. I need to pull my lab records, but I had a full nutrition panel run, and at that time I had been eating mostly meat based, and everything was in range. Now, having said that, we know that lab statistics and their normals are based on probably a sick population because anywhere from 88% to 96% of the people have one hallmark sign of metabolic disease. But according to what we have for medical standards now, for me, my nutritional panel was spot on. My iron's good. My B12's good. My vitamin C was in range. My selenium's good. I have Hashimoto's. My my iodine levels are good. My zinc levels were done. Um, and
Great.
I don't. So again, me personally, I have never ever liked vegetables. Um, I hated vegetables so badly, especially peas. I never even introduced peas to my children. Um, if you like them, if you tolerate them, If you want to eat them and you can do so, I think that's perfectly fine.
But you have
All
to
I
No,
eat.
test.
I get
pardon
my
me?
minerals that way.
You have to test.
Yeah, you have to test. I
Yeah.
think that I haven't really done a lot of research on minerals, um, but my calcium was fine, my magnesium was fine, my sodium was fine. I haven't looked at copper or any of those other things.
These are all areas that you just mentioned. These are all that messes up in my system.
How's
And
that?
again, we
Can
have
you
to.
explain? Can you
I'm
explain
gonna
that,
I
Hengameh?
I'm gonna let
Yes.
you guys. I'm gonna let you guys finish talking about dietary stuff. I kind of screwed up the starting time because the United States thinks it's a great idea to jump forward an hour. Um, and I have got to be true to myself and uh, keep my word to myself. I said an hour when Bernardo agreed to do this, and I have already committed to my own protocol, which Bernardo knows it's Sauna Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do some breath work and some guided meditation, and I'm going to see if I can get my body temperature up. Listen, it's been a great, engaging conversation.
Yeah.
You guys
Yes.
finish up as long as you
Yeah.
want. Bernardo can be the moderator, and you guys feel free to discuss diet and what works for each of you and how you've determined that. And we'll see about coming up with a topic for next week.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm going to say live well to die well.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
thank you,
Kimberly,
Kimberly.
Kimberly.
Kimberly,
No,
you're an immortal. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. And
You're an
sorry
immortal.
if I triggered you. I didn't mean to trigger anything. I just want you to get away from this. I have to. It's I want to.
Well, there is some semantics in the language, and you're probably right. I could do better about saying I want,
It's
but when I say
perfect.
I have, listen. When shortcut communication, when I tell you that um, I have to do something,
Take that out. Take that like literally out your vocabulary. Just
I
say I don't have the word I have to anymore. Get it out. Seriously, get it out of your system.
that's going to be a hard habit to break. But it's all based on what
We're on
I
a
have.
hard journey.
It's all based on what I have decided that I want to do, and this is my
Perfect.
planner. Um, and I don't know if you can see the ink marks in it. I have set that. That's not the point that you see it. I hope you can just
Right.
see the difference in the color. My
Right.
point is, I've already spent a great deal of quiet time seeking input from my higher power, um, researching what's best for me nutritionally, and I have set my intentions. These are the things that I want to do. Um,
Perfect.
they sometimes get expressed as have to, not have to
Mm.
because it's a drudgery, but have to because I've already taken the time and the energy to decide what I want to do. And um, in order for me to love myself, I have to keep my word to myself, or should keep my word to myself, and I want to keep the word to myself.
Want,
But in order to
should,
do
have
that,
to.
I have to do it. If it
Take
doesn't,
that habit and kick it out of your system. Forget
well,
that have to. Call it you want
but
to. Just
but
change
you know
it.
what?
Change
The
it.
bottom line is, however we discuss it, if I don't do it, I've lied to myself and I've denied myself the opportunity to care for myself. And
You're
that
too
that means
hard
that
on
I'm
yourself,
not.
Kimberly. You're too hard on yourself.
That may be true, But I'm also a type A personality, and I can't change who I am at my core. I
You
can.
can change, but we don't want to change. That's the problem.
So, it sounds like to me I'm getting triggered again, and I'll sign
Okay,
off
I'm
with
sorry. I
it.
didn't mean to do that. That
Because
was
what it
not my
sounds
intention.
like is what I present to you in public on a very scary forum that's going to be live on YouTube and unedited is that I'm not enough as my type A
You're,
fighter
no, you're
personality
not.
when you say I
No,
have to
I'm very
Yeah.
grateful. I'm very grateful for you, Kimberly. You're a
I,
great example for me.
thank
Having
you.
cancer into the year 2000 and living as long as you have, you're my goal.
Well,
Right.
I was originally diagnosed in 2010. I had a long period of absenteeism, and this battle's only this journey or my known diagnosis has only been going on since August of 2023. And chances are, I had a real hard conversation with my oncologist this week.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chances are I have already been living with triple negative breast cancer since 2010, which statistically speaking means that however I figured out how to do it, I have already coexisted and my body has figured out how to manage this disease for 2010 to 20 for 15 years.
You're an
Excellent.
avenger. You're an avenger.
Yeah.
But statistically,
Celebrate each day.
oh, I do
Yeah.
celebrate each
Yeah.
day. But
Okay.
statistically, what that means is I'm already an outlier, and I am
Perfect.
grateful for that.
Yeah.
I know.
Excellent.
We're
Um,
grateful too. Thank you
but
for everything you've done.
but that
Yes.
means it's important for us to focus on new and improving research. And I'm sorry,
We're not done
Siegfried,
with you, Kimberly. Oh, I'm going
Siegfried,
to be asking
seems,
you more questions.
Siegfried seems to have it partly figured out in
You have it
that
Yeah.
figured out, Kimberly. You have it figured
is,
out.
well, you know, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
No, it's
But
No,
true.
it's true.
You've
It's
done
in the
like
record.
I'm one
you've
person
achieved a lot.
and I'm just one person and I'm attempting to spread the word.
So when cancer hit me, I was 28. I was in the fight mode. And I actually, no, I wasn't even in the fight. I was in the survivor mode. I was like, yes, I got through chemo, I got through radiation. But I was always thinking at the end that I was fighting and it came back. Because it came back at 49, I was like, and then it came back at 52. And I'm like, wait a minute. There's subconscious habits that I am dealing with that I'm not even aware of, subconsciously, meaning. And so when I shifted my mind in embracing it and saying, wait a minute, I manifested this in my body, my habits, my cells, whatever I'm doing, I got to switch it. I just have to, and so it stopped. It hasn't reduced, but I mean, it's thawed out. It's just kind of like in frozen stage. And
Mhm.
so I've embraced it. I've changed my story. This is
Yeah.
why I love what I'm doing. I want to be here. I want to have this discussion. I'm not here to trigger anyone. I'm not here to tell people what to do. I'm here to literally share my story and say, listen, it happened to me early. I was able, it's taking me 25 years to shift my mind, my habits. It's not an easy journey, but I believe that embracing it and calling it a name and talking to it when you go to sleep or something. I mean, whatever works. Just change be a child again, play, for God's sake.
This I agree with the Hegema that we have to embrace it a certain way. But this is the way I see it, and it completely agrees with Siegfried. Siegfried says that cancer cells are dysregulated mitochondria that we used to live with. They used to get along with us. they're rebellious right now because we've flooded them with glucose and all this bad stuff, right? We clear up the environment, we make them happy again, we convert all the vampires back to humans. That's what we do. We charm
Yeah.
them back. The ones who don't want to convert, they're evicted, right? They die off.
Yeah.
The ones who want to get reset, we reset it with melanin blue, with metabolic therapy, with sun, magnetism, and air, grounding. We reset ourselves and we make when Hegema says make peace with it, we're telling them work with us again.
Yeah.
You know, billion years ago, you decided to become part of our bodies and help us, right? I want my cancer to become part of my body again and become regulated, become normal.
Yeah.
See?
The way we
And
get
I,
to it.
If cancer
does
becomes
that make
normal
sense?
and regulated, then it's not cancer and it's gone.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
would
It's
have
gone.
beaten the disease. And to
Right.
beat
And that
something,
melatonin's supposed to do that. Melatonin's supposed to do that. It's supposed to put it to sleep.
and if
Melatonin get
you've
from the
beaten
sun.
something, you've won. The host is won, and the cancer cell has lost. So,
Yeah, but we converted them. I see it as a conversion. She's saying
Exactly.
put it to sleep. There's actually science out there that says melatonin in high dosage puts it to sleep, right? Who knows what other compounds and habits and mental attitudes and stress reduction can put it to sleep
and
and
you
maybe
guys
settle
can
it down.
find those stories in our Cancer Warriors school group.
Yeah.
Our group does a great job
It
um,
does,
of linking those studies and capturing them. And Bernardo has
especially
news
Stewart.
on the website where all of
Yeah.
that will be maybe a little bit better organized, so you
Yeah.
can go and read your own research and make your own decisions and how you implement metabolic therapy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So
if
I'm not
anybody
done
wants,
yet. I just want to say, I don't believe there's a cure for cancer. I believe you have to heal your body, and then your
Yes,
body kills the cancer, or
exactly.
gets rid of it, or converts it, whatever word you want. It becomes part of us,
Transform.
and then we win.
Transform. Yeah, exactly.
Good
all right,
idea.
you guys
Guys,
have a
it's been
great
great.
week.
Have a great time,
Post
guys. Thank you
topics
so
for the
much.
podcast or studies that you want to look at, or as always, and Bernardo, my offer always stands. I'll always yield to anybody who wants to tell their story in this time spot, but you got to let us know. So
Kimberly,
y'all
Kimberly,
take
Awesome.
Kimberly.
care.
I have one last question. You're blonde. Were you
No,
blonde last
honey.
week? Oh,
Um, no, this is all gray hair.
oh,
Um,
I thought it was in your hairstyle.
no, well, it's
Oh,
just a little bit flat. Hey, listen, you know what?
you,
You know
you look
what?
good.
I swear, last story. Y'all can't do this to me. I'm trying real hard to obey my own boundaries. I was
It looks like
washing
a new
my,
hairstyle.
well, I'm just freaking thankful to have hair, okay? First of all. And second of all, y'all, when was the last time you were grateful for your eyelashes?
Yeah.
I'm a slow learner. The first time I had cancer and lost my hair, and the second time too, I'm in the shower. I'm like, oh, I'm washing my hair. Got the soap running down my face, and I'm like, my eyes are burning. Wait, how can I be at the time? I guess I was 40 something, and now I'm 60. How can I be 60 years old and still getting soap in my eyes? Y'all know what the function of eyelashes are?
Oh, I
It
see.
does a whole lot of things, but
Mm,
it keeps the freaking soap out of your
Oh,
eyes.
right.
I
So
see. I
Yeah.
never thought about that.
if you're
Me
having
neither.
trouble being grateful about your body and what it can do and should do, even the tiniest things have a purpose. And
Yes.
eyelashes, one of their purposes is to keep soap out of your eyes. You can't see them because I haven't put any mascara on them, but I am growing some eyebrows back. I have hair, and I have eyelashes. I'm telling you, that's one of the things that I do every day when I'm in the shower. If I'm gonna wash my hair, is thank God for eyelashes, because it's a little bit easier to keep the soap out of my eyes these days.
Yeah.
Kimberly, you need to take off your glasses. You look better without glasses.
You know what?
Yes,
That's great.
you
Kimberly,
look
you're
better without glasses.
brilliant. You should
You
be
got all
doing
your
stand-up
contacts or
comedy
something.
show.
Oh, well, if you think that's
Take
funny,
off your
I'll tell you
glasses.
one
You
more
look better without
story.
glasses.
You know the easiest way to lose 5 inches off your waist?
Wow.
Get a boob job. You put them back on your chest where they belong, and you lose all that shit from your waist.
Oh, wait.
Laughter
Wait, the
is the
podcast
best.
has become rated R.
Hey, Bernardo, now you probably should go back and edit that part of the video.
No, keep it in. Keep it in.
I think
You
it
all
will be
have a
funny.
great week. Don't forget, laughter is the best
Yeah.
medicine, and have as much
It
fun
is.
as you can. As my
Thank you.
granddaughter tells me every morning when I drop her off at school, Mimi, today is going to be the best day
Yes.
ever.
Yeah.
Have the best
Yes.
Positivity.
week ever, guys.
Yep.
Love you.
Yeah,
Love you
you
guys.
too. Bye.